Hey everybody, it's Yuki. Welcome back. And what a time to be back. So, first video since I got sick a few days ago. And of course, there's news, and this is the big one that has been gone over for a while now. And it's time to cover this as it relates to the channel and what to expect. So, this is coming from Tech Radar. YouTube set to test AI powered AIDS checks in the United States. And will the United Kingdom be next? So, this has been going on for the last few days. Like I said, got sick, can cover it. Or now I'm going to cover it as best as I can. And then we're going to talk about it from a channel perspective using Exkelodraw. So first, let's talk about this article from TechRadar. YouTube is introducing AI AIDS checks in order in the US to filter inappropriate content, which makes sense. Machine learning will base decisions based on watch videos, on search videos, categories, among other criteria. The announcement follows the recent blocking of YouTube in Australia for minors and restrictions on social media in the United Kingdom. So, this announcement in the US is literally following what they did in Australia. The news comes days after a complete ban on YouTube access for under 16s in Australia and the introduction of age verification checks in the United Kingdom under the Online Safety Act or OSA. Trailing the technology with a simple audience in the United States, YouTube plans to expand it across the country in UK, tailoring experiences based on the viewer's age. This doesn't just mean blocking unsuitable content. Personalized advertising will also be disabled for children, while older video viewers will be required to provide government issued ID to confirm their age if the AI gets it wrong. And this is where a lot of people got upset. And we'll talk about that in a moment after the conclusion of this article. YouTube's quote built in protections. In a blog post, Director of Product Management for YouTube Youth, James Besser, wrote that quote, machine learning age estimation is being employed to protect teens on YouTube. Distinguishing the new measures from previous incentives such as YouTube Kids and supervised adult account for teens. Besser explained that the platform would work toward presenting age appropriate videos. Okay, so the following video was from Fox 5 in Washington, D.C. But I'm not going to play it due to copyright because it's Fox, and we know it's Fox 5 in Washington. So we will not play the video for that reason. Quote, over the next few weeks, we will be rolling out the machine learning to a small set of users in the US to estimate their age so that teens are treated as teens and adults as adults, said Baser. Machine learning will record the searches, video categories, and the AI will make decisions based on these and other factors, including the age of the account. Quote, this technology will allow us to infer a user's age and then present that signal, regardless of the birthday in the account, to deliver our age appropriate product experiences and protections, said Baser. These protections include disabling personalized advertising when children are watching and switching on digital well-being tools. These currently include break reminders, daily timers, and a bedtime reminder. In addition, recommendations will be safeguarded with blocks on repeated content. These measures also would seem to be VPN proof too. Virtual Private Network VPN like Nord VPN. There would be no point at any government banning VPNs if the AI based measures are universal It cannot be circumvented. What's next? Based on this article from Tech Radar, over the years, criticism of YouTube's granular content controls have resulted in a subscription service, also known as YouTube Kids, supervised accounts, and Google Family Link integration. The timing of this announcement following the decision to include YouTube in Australia's under 16 social media ban cannot be a coincidence. After all, it looks like this is not just a US only endeavor. We are now bringing it to the US, and as we make progress, we'll roll it to other markets, says Bezar. Considering recent events, the United Kingdom would seem high on that list of markets, followed by the key European Union nations imposing age verification measures. Okay, before we talk about my channel and analytically and what I do, let's talk about first a few red flags that might be popping up in terms of this article, in terms of what people do not like. So, this, by the way, this will take place August 13, 2025, just to get you guys ready for that. So, this part right here, it says, this doesn't just mean unblocking unsuitable content. It says also, older viewers will be required to provide a government issued ID to confirm their age if the AI gets it wrong. So, yes, the AI ain't perfect. Let's get that out of the way now. AI is machine learning and needs to learn about this stuff. And yes, AI has been used in other markets, including the video game industry, especially how everybody gets Call of Duty. Everybody knows that Call of Duty has been using AI for their artwork in recent times. But in terms of this, AI can get it wrong. Seriously. It ain't perfect. It's not going to be like, oh, 100% working. It could determine your account wrong under 18, even if you were over 18. That's how AI is sometimes. It is wrong at times. Now, why a lot of people are talking about government issued ID is because if they upload their government issued ID, YouTube can use that against you by that is based on arguments I've heard. Based on they could manipulate. That's what's going on here. And that could issue problems in terms of content that your viewers can watch, especially if AI gets it wrong. If AI says I'm not 29.85 years old, that's trouble for some content and a lot of content if this gets it very wrong. Now, YouTube Kids, now I want to emphasize that yes, this is an issue when it comes to like, oh, kids are not supposed to watch adult rated content. And that is true. That is absolutely true. I do understand where they're coming from with this. Shadow the Hedgehog, the YouTuber, the VR chat guy, the Shadow the Hedgehog guy, even mentions this. AI can get this wrong. That's number one. And then he mentioned that what if it gets it wrong so much that you cannot watch his content? That's the deal we're dealing with here. All right. And the government issued ID. That's one of the red flags a lot of people are saying. They might want to backtrack on that. But I do understand. Yeah, you're supposed to protect kids and from inappropriate content. But remember, the way that YouTube works is based on what they watch. They are going to be recommended content based on what they watch. The AI is supposed to feed the viewer based on what they just watched the next video if it's in a playlist or something similar Let's say I search for Escape from Tarkov, talking about the best weapon setups. Then what's my next video gonna be? Most likely something similar with maybe a scab run, something similar to that particular thing. That's what AI is supposed to do, especially on YouTube where it's all video based. Now, let's get into my channel. I have an schedule draw. Let me see if I can refresh this. There we go. So that is my schedule draw. So I'm gonna be, it's gonna be the same some types of content, but I'm going to explain it from my channel point of view. So the basics of this is checking if the account belongs to an adult base based on search history and other criteria. Could limit what viewers can watch on my channel, the main channel, your Retro Yuki, and other channels, and it goes into effect August 13th. Very basic, simple information. Let's talk about it practically on my channel. What do I stream? What do I search? So there are five main things I've been streaming for the last 5 weeks, considering the new schedule and all that stuff. Now, please disregard the last 5 days because, yes, I was sick for the last 5 days and I'm still starting to get better. So please disregard the last 5 days when it comes to the data. But I do want to talk about what it means for this particular talk. So the first main content you've been watching me stream is Mario ROM hacks. Now, by itself, the name Mario should say, hey, that's for kids, right? Except for one very particular detail: ROM hacks. I am not talking about Mario as in the regular Mario games, because Mario games are automatically for kids. But because I said ROM hacks, what is a ROM hack? What is a ROM? What is a hack? What is a this and that? Because of the word ROM hacks, ROM stands for read only memory. Does a kid look at Mario and talk about, hey, what's a ROM? What's a ROM? What is a read only memory? What is a computer guide? What is a ROM hack? What is a hack? These are questions not asked by kids. These are questions asked by adults. Okay? Nobody's going to say a kid to a young Mario fan. No kid is going to say, I wonder what's a ROM hack or what's a ROM. Oh, I did not know about Mario ROM. What is that? Now, it's okay to be curious, but are they going to understand that ROM stands for read only memory? But you're only going to understand that if you're an adult who's learning about computer science or game development. No. So that's why I said the target is a younger audience, but the shirts is for adults. Reason: younger audience won't understand what a ROM is in context to computing. They're never gonna understand that. Okay. The second thing I mainly stream here is live tutorials, and I'm talking about various topics. The target audience for this particular type of search and stream is for those of you in the ninth grade to the college level, or if you're looking for like game development stuff for a job. The reason for this is because those who want to learn game development using Unity, or those of you who are interested in video editing. So I did the DaVinci Resolve tutorial. If you're interested in learning about video editing for your YouTube channel, that's why you would search for that. Or in the case of the FPS engine by Cousins, you want to learn how to make an FPS video game. But who's going to learn about those? Those in the ninth grade preparing for college, and those who are already in the college level, and those who are looking for a job in the video game development industry. So in this case, the search is for adults. And the topic is also for adults in this case, or young adults if you're in the ninth grade. Okay, it's okay. It's great to be curious. I'm not saying no, but in terms of this AI material about to be, that's what it's gonna be. So adult, and then the Mario is gonna be adult because of the ROM hacks. The next topic that the next type of games or the next type of streams I do is the role playing games like Francis the Hedgehog plays Dragon Quest IX on Fridays. The target audience is role playing games fans, in particular JRPGs in this case. Now, in this case, this is going to be a gray area. Is it for kids? Is it for adults? Now, typically speaking, if you do not include the fact that I'm playing as a character, Francis the Hedgehog, in this case, then it's going to be for teens. It is the middle ground. However, because I did include Francis the Hedgehog in my gameplay using voice mod, it is going to be a gray area. Do you consider, because of Francis the Hedgehog, do you consider it as a teen or kids? But the game in question is for teens. Is there a gray area in between that because Francis the Hedgehog is included? If he's not included, it is automatically teen and up. But because Francis the Hedgehog is included, I have to include that as a gray area. What do you guys think in the comments? Blow it. Blow the comments up with that one. Games and beta. Now, this is a target topic audience for various purposes. Now, this weekend is automatically adults because we're playing Battlefield 6 beta, and that is a adult rated game. But what if the game is not for adults? That's why the target audience is various because of the fact that we're playing Battlefield 6 this weekend, but next weekend I could be playing a kids game. So the average would be teen. But it will depend on what games are being beta. So in this case, because it's a big weekend for those of you interested in Battlefield 6, it is going to be adults this weekend. But next weekend, I could be doing a different game that's for kids. It's going to be various audiences for this particular topic. Okay? So that's why for the moment, I would say the AI is going to agree that it's going to be middle ground teens. But do expect that this weekend, because it's the Battlefield 6 beta, there's going to be more coverage on Battlefield 6 this weekend than normal. So for this weekend, it's completely adult, but next weekend it could be completely kids. And then because of the balance out, it is going to be teens. So the AI might call that teens. The next topic, although it's via my other channel, Yuki VR Productions, it's a gray area. Here's why I'm going to say gray area. Because it will also depend on what type of VR experience I'm going to be doing. Okay? Because there's two different types of VR experiences that can go on that channel. You have VR chat, which is our normal. Then you have the VR gaming, which is started. And then you have the VR CRP, the role play. The ones that you normally see me do when I used to be doing it for real. Here's the reasons why I'm calling it a gray area. Depending on what the VR experience is, it could be adults, it could be kids, or it could even be teens. VR chat gives this area a gray area because of the social experiences rather than a game. So if I upload a gameplay of VR, I can't do VR right now because I'm still trying to get over the sickness. But let's say the VR game is bowling. Everybody can bowl. You can be 10 years old and you can bowl like a perfect 300. You can be like Mookie Betts, who bowled a 300. And then you can have a game like Dungeons of Eternity. which is a teen rated game, and then you have VR chat, which can be anybody, and then you have the VR chat role play, which could be for kids as well. So it's going to be a gray area. It could be either one. But I think the AI is going to be nice and say that the VR channel could be for middle ground anybody. But do keep in mind, if I start making an AI, not AI, but if I make a VR chat roleplay that's for 18 plus, then the average goes up to teen, which it might happen. Okay, so now I want to talk about my recent search history, talking about the other part of the AI, which is the search history and all that. These are the recent three. The Battlefield 6 open beta date. Now, obviously, looking at my channel right now, you notice that I have Battlefield 6 on the schedule this weekend. That is because this weekend is the first weekend of the Battlefield 6 open beta. And everybody's been very excited to play Battlefield 6 open beta ever since Call of Duty went down the drain, literally. And I'm expecting a very good experience. But when it comes to this video in terms of AI, it's an adult search and it's a mature game search for this weekend. So everybody who's been wanting to try the Battlefield 6 open beta, and in my case for the first time ever, Battlefield anything, I'm very excited to try it. Everybody wants to go hop on the Battlefield 6 searching how to get a beta key, how to get the beta, how to download the beta on Steam, how to download the beta on Epic, whatever. Everybody's jumping on that. And therefore, it's a mature search because Battlefield 6 is a mature rated game. The second thing I've been looking for is the Sunday and Monday Rosary, 15 minutes in particular. Now, why am I talking about the Rosary when it comes to this particular video? Because I've searched for it in the last 2 days, and actually, we've been praying the Rosary every night. But what does it term in terms of like searching about my account and AI? The ages for this particular search should be for 15 and higher. And those of you who are talking about religious education, and those of you who want to learn about religion, you want to learn, hey, this is how you pray the rosary. Every day is a different mystery, the sorrowful, the joyful, whatever. You learn how to do the rosary, you pray the rosary, and then there's a graphic. I've done this already a lot of times. There's a graphic on the left and right side on the parts of the rosary where you are. So, for example, if you're in the first mystery and then you are in bead number 3, you are in mystery 1, bead 3 of that decade. It's 10 decades of 10 beads per mystery, and the entire thing, 5 mystery, is the entire rosary plus the prayer at the end. So so this is going to be more of the 15 plus. And if you are talking about religious education and you're talking about you want to learn about religion, that's where that's going to go in the AI model, in my opinion. The final search, for example, is Andrew McCutcheon and furries. Age is 10 plus. So a little drop back about this particular video. This is from Fullest Baseball. So how does this video go into 10 plus? Because baseball is enjoyed by kids and adults. Um, Funny enough that this Friday I'm actually going to a real baseball game. Okay, with the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. Funny enough that how that works. So baseball and how Andrew McCutcheon does better when Androcon is in Pittsburgh from 2014 to 2023. So basically a backdrop. Andrew McCutcheon used to play for the Pirates in Pittsburgh, and the furry convention Antrocon is in town during those dates when they're playing. It just so happens that when he plays, when Antrocon is in Pittsburgh, he slugs over 400. Which, if you just do those stats alone, he's the best player of all time, especially when Antrocon is in town. So you learn a little bit about, hey, this is baseball. Oh, I did not know there's a Fury convention in Pittsburgh. Oh, McCutcheon actually does better when Antrocon is in town. So you learn all three in one video from Foolish Baseball. That's why I think the AI is going to flag that as 10 plus kids to adults because it's baseball, because it's Andrew McCutcheon, who's a star player, and it's Antrocon, the furry convention where a lot of adults come together in Pittsburgh for one weekend talking about the furry thingies. That's where I'm going with the AI thing. Now, let's talk about if I'm cooked. And I'm talking about this in the form of the account. My history on YouTube, when I was born, and all that good stuff. So I was born in 1995. I made my channel back in 2013, September 6th to be exact. The age when I made the channel was 17.95 because October 25th is my birthday, September 6th is not. Okay? Had I waited for another year, another month, then yes, I would have been exactly 18. Been on YouTube for 12 years, officially active for 5 years now. So I'm talking about how here I've been active for 5, but my YouTube channel has been on for 12. So what does this mean? Since 2020, I've been making videos for you guys, but the channel has been up since 2013. But I didn't really do anything other than random stuff. I wanted to learn about YouTube back then. And it's not until 2020 when I started literally taking it for real. My official age is 29.85, which my next birthday is literally in 2 months, October 25th. Okay. Am I cooked though? No, because it's 29.85. If this was back in 2017, then yes, because 2017, I would have only been 18. If I was born in 2017 and I made my channel today in 2025, and my birthday was October 25th, 2017, then yes, I would have been cooked. But because my birthday was 1995, I'm okay for the most part. I'm going to say why in a moment. So, any content in trouble, this is where I said in a moment. Moody bot tutorials. Now, this is a gray area for a few reasons. For one reason here. That's because it lets you learn how to do the bot. You collect anime characters, which appeals to young adults because young adults like to watch anime, right? However, in the bot, because the bot allows you to learn how to add characters into the bot for your friends to collect, sometimes the community is going to get into the NSFW artwork and NSFW poses. That part you cannot control unless you learn how to do it yourself. So for this reason, I think only the Moody bot tutorials might be in a little bit of trouble. I'm gonna have to see where this AI thing goes before we make an official assumption. Okay? Now let's talk about analytical stuff. I know we're talking about numbers again, but we have to because it's part of this video. So let's talk about these graph. This is the age and gender lifetime views based on gender and based on age. On the left, we have gender. 17.2% are female, while 82.8% are male. So I'm not surprised at this stat in terms of like male female. I'm just surprised there is 17% female, which is interesting. I was not expecting that. Okay, let's talk about the age on the right. Now, keep in mind this is lifetime, not in the last few years. Ever since 2013, even though I didn't really do anything much. The 13 to 17-year-old range. This is the thing about the AI thing. The 13 to 17 years old, there's only 4.8% of you who got to watch the content so far. 18 to 24 and 25 to 34 have taken over 95%, nearly over 95%. It's 55% for 18 to 24 and 30.2% for 25 to 34. 35 to 44 is 88%. It's 8%. And 45 to 54-year-olds, 1.7%. I'm actually more surprised that there are 45 to 80 to 54-year-old um, watching my channel, as well as 35 to 44. I was expecting more in the 18 to 34-year-old range. I got my wish in that case. I was surprised there's more 44-year-olds here than I was thinking. But in perspective to this particular talk, only 4.8% of you in lifetime watch the channel. Any video, anything what I do. Now let's talk about how this relates to the views in the last 48 hours. Now keep in mind this is in the last 48 and this might have changed since this video started recording. For the most part, tutorials are taking the top spot. And then you have the new content like the SPT, the single player Tarkov, which just started season 0 by the way. And speaking of season 0, the Factory of Pain video, the first raid of the season on August 3rd, like 2 days ago, 23 views. Now, let's talk about more about what you guys have been watching. So the Mood Day tutorials were the gray area. More of you guys are watching those than you guys are watching the new stuff. And then you have the Dolphin emulator tutorial and the Melon DS. Now, obviously, those numbers look low, but remember, it's only now in the last few years that emulation has been taken over. In particular, because Nintendo, the price of their console is $500 and their games are $80, and now everybody's looking forward to, I want to be an emulator now. That's what this is going on. So there has been a surge in emulation content because of that. And because of that, everybody wants to learn how to use a Melon DS, how to use an emulator, how to do this and that. So in that regard, what would the AI think? The AI, I think, this is just a brief assumption, but we're going to talk about this again, like after I come back from vacation, because I want to talk about the repercussions. I think the AI is going to say teen plus because you have to learn the inside outs of emulation. You have to learn about what Tarkov is. You have to learn what an SPT is. You want to learn what an emulator is. That's why I think the AI is going to be in our favor and say that the account is going to be higher than 18. Now, I'm just saying this just as a guess. Now let's talk about the recent live streams, which is this graph, not graph, but image. All right. So let's examine what we have here in terms of this image. So this is the last few live streams I've done, disregarding the last 5 days because I got sick. In the last few weeks of the live streams, you guys have been watching more tutorials than you guys are watching Francis the Hedgehog play games, which makes absolute sense. Okay, now let's go over a few outlier. So first off, the Francis the Hedgehog video where where we go to Stornway, that's an outlier for one reason here. That is because that was originally going to be on the Francis the Hedgehog channel, but I wanted to test it to see if it does well on this channel, the main channel, and actually it did better than I anticipated, and to see if I really wanted to make the channel here, to make his content here, the Francis the Hedgehog, and you guys have been responding well. Now, well, in respect to what's been going on the channel. Now, I've also noticed that you guys enjoy the tutorials here on the channel. In particular, the FPS tutorial when we're talking about how to make a video game. The last two, in terms of tutorials, have been over, if you combine the numbers, over 200. No, over 150 actually, because you have a 46 here on 3.2. Now, keep in mind the the FPS tutorial 3.2 is the latest version, is the latest tutorial. This was when we were talking about how to use items and scripting. You guys have been going ham on the tutorials, and I respect that. I really do. What about our main content? Our our big content, the Mario. The Mario has not been doing that bad. All things considered, now that tutorials are back, they're not. It's not doing that bad. Now, keep in mind, Mario Jam has been suspended because I'm going on vacation, and I've been thinking if this particular hack is a good one to keep going on. So that's why it's been on a little bit of suspension. It has nothing to do with difficulty, but I'm gonna say that, hey, you guys are enjoying that. I'm good. The content that's not doing well, that I'm going to return to in terms of like videos like this one. It's the gaming news. Okay. Yeah, I had a feeling that was not going to do well, but I wanted to try it anyway. The surprising one though was Fortnite at 35. Now 35 is not a good number compared to, like, let's say 71 or 75. But you have to remember, I only got back to Fortnite because of Blitz Royale. If it wasn't for Blitz Royale, this is out. This is out of the table. Okay. But what does the AI think? What would the AI think? If we're talking about Francis the Hedgehog, let's let's analyze this like realistic AI thinking. The tutorial on the FPS engine is adults. I don't think the AI is gonna mess that up. The Fortnite gameplay, there is a gray area. I'm gonna say, okay, Fortnite is supposed to be for kids. However, adults have been playing it because of the ninja, the big streamers, and they want to make money. So the reason why that's a gray area. So I'm gonna say for gameplay, kids, but I'm going to say adult in terms of competition. because the adults are going to play in the big events like the for the money. Okay, the next one is Francis Hedgehog plays Dragon Quest 9. Okay, this is a gray area. This is a gray area because, like I mentioned back at the top when we did this section, if I don't put Francis the Hedgehog as the player, then it's teens to adults. But because I did, for the sake of the character channel, then it becomes a gray area because Francis the Hedgehog, what do you associate Sonic with? Kids. What do you associate JRPGs with? Adults. Therefore, add kids plus adults equals gray area. It is literally in the middle. So that's why I put a gray area for Francis the Hedgehog. Again, we're going to talk about tutorials. That's adults right there. Thank you very much. Now, keep in mind, it also considers what type of tutorial. This is an FPS engine tutorial. We're talking about how to make a game featuring things you would normally associate with Call of Duty or zombies or some game FPS style. There is another asset pack I want to teach you guys where you can literally make your own platformer game. But platformer games deal with kids, except you're talking about this as a tutorial to make a video game for kids. So that could be a gray area. So we'll see. Mario Jam, that's the ROM hack we're playing. If you're talking about this as a viewer, this is kids. As a viewer. But if you're talking about this as somebody who is learning to make a ROM hack, this is adults because of ROM. That's why. The word ROM is going to change everything. Supermarket Simulator is a game that is a simulator. This is where it also gets a gray area. Gray area because this is a simulator game of running your own supermarket as a job. Let's say that you are somebody who wants to learn how to run a supermarket. This video game can help you learn what it's like to run a supermarket, from running the checkouts to restocking to to managing your store, how to clean the store, how to manage your storage, how to manage your bills, how to expand. Anything that you think about supermarket like Walmart or anything like that, you can learn how to do that for a career. Now, how about a viewer? Are they going to think about it like that? Probably not. This deserves a gray area. And this is only based on what would the viewer think. Are they going to think about it as an adult who who eventually wants to run their own store, or are they going to just think about this as a video game featuring a supermarket? That's where it's the gray area. So what would the AI think? I would say gray area. Again, this is the next one is a tutorial, therefore it is an adult. And again, because it's a Mario one for the next one, that's kids for the viewer and adults for the ROM. Gaming news. This is a tough one. Gaming news, what would the AI think? Is it a gray area? Is it for kids or is it for adults? This is the harder one because it would also depend on what you're covering. If you are covering gaming news in terms of Nintendo, for the most part, Nintendo likes to make games for kids. However, if you're talking about Microsoft or Sony, they tend to go to the adult route or teen route. But gaming news is more about the the side of gaming where you talk about the controversies, the articles, the game rants of the world, the IGNs of the world. Is it a kids thing? Is it an adults thing? Or is it somewhere in between? It would also depend on what topics you're talking about too. Are you talking about Final Fantasy in terms of how you can get into Final Fantasy for kids? In that case, it's a tutorial. Okay? I'm gonna say if the AI is going to grade this particular topic, I'm gonna say it's at the gray area. What topics are you covering? That's the main question if it's going to be that particular topic. Because you can talk about different topics when it comes to gaming news. Again, controversies or games they make or upcoming games or game reviews, those type of things. Okay? I am 95% sure of the rest. Okay? So that's my assessment so far. So if we take a final tally as of right now, this is going to be more of a channel for, I really think it's going to be more for adults. And here's why. My channel does have kids content, except that I talk about it in adult manner. I don't I It's more of how I present rather than I present the content. It's how I present the content that is going to be graded on AI. I am going to say this is more of adult channel. If you consider the following. If the AI considers the tutorials, again, I'm going to change the color there. If the AI considers the tutorials, oops, they have to consider the tutorials though. The tutorials as well as the way it's presented. Then I think my channel is for adults. However, the gray area becomes right here. What about the games, Supermarket Simulator? What about the gaming news? What about the fact that I included a character? What would the AI think? Remember, presentation versus presented. And finally, the kids' content. The kids' content does over does at this moment have more of a leg up against the other content I have because I do more Mario than I do tutorials. It should have been the other way around, but because the Mario content has been getting more views, that's why I went the other way. Now, will this affect the AI learning system? That's where it's gonna be. That's where it's gonna be. Thingy. Now, I want to draw your attention to one particular week in my main channel, and that is right here. It's literally the previous week. Right here, you would notice that all of these are Mario. There was no tutorials at this moment when we came back to them. Okay, So up until this point right here on June 23rd, there was no tutorials. Therefore, if the AI judged it on this week alone, then it would be a kids channel. Even though I said ROM hack. What about the previous period? This is where it gets gonna get more kids than adults. Because we did try playing COD Mobile. Okay. Then we tried Schedule 1. Then I did my tutorials on DaVinci. So it will depend on what the AI thinks. And this week, mostly adults. Because you have the Battlefield 6 beta. And you also have the Fortnite. And tomorrow I return for the first time to play Mario. Okay? This is the first stream I had since I got sick. So, tomorrow. But will the AI consider the Battlefield 6 beta? And I'm banking on the Battlefield 6 beta because that's for adults. So this weekend is like saying this week it's like saying the first half of the week is going to be for kids. The second half of the week is straight up adult content only because of Battlefield 6. And then the middle of the week, the Thursday is going to be for both kids and adults because you have Fortnite, and then at night you have Francis the Hedgehog plays Dragon Quest 9. Con- if I decide to stay there, because there's a chance I might not, because of my Twitch announcement, I might move Fortnite back to Saturday if I consider um, a lot of factors. You may have noticed there is no Friday. That's obvious. I'm going to the Dodger game. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to the Dodger game. Literally. So there's no way I'm going to stream on Friday. So where's the middle ground here when it comes to AI? What will the AI say? Adult, kids, teens, or gray? Gray area. I am going to make a bet guess. Gray area. And it's all because of the middle. The beta of Battlefield 6 is going to be adults. Mario is going to be adult if I consider the ROM hack. And then the Fortnite is kids. Francis the Hedgehog is kids minus +1 because of the fact that we're playing an adult game. So we have to see where Mr. AI goes. It is a nasty, weird week when it comes to AI. But will AI be in our favor? We will have to see on August 13th when the update launches. So that would mean, let's see what happens next Wednesday when the update launch. I'm going to make a video on the 15th to see what happened after. We're going to do a before and after video where I'm going to compare what happened before the 13th in terms of the our analysis, and then after the 13th on the 14th make that video. So the part 2 of this is going to be on the 14th when I see what happens. Now keep in mind that is going to be a rollout of several weeks. So we're going to have to wait. Okay? Once I get the result of that, we will recheck our analysis. All right? That's all for this one. Let's see if you guys are interested how you guys are affected by the AI update. I'm very interested to see what you guys think about this analysis. And you guys see, do you guys agree with this particular part right here? Do you guys agree with my analysis on this right here? Now keep in mind, these are the last streams for the last 2 weeks. So this can change. Okay. That's all for this one. If you have questions, comments, concerns, or want to talk about this particular screen, let me know in the comments. Enjoy, and we'll see you guys tomorrow with my first return stream. Keep in mind there is another video coming up later talking about my Twitch return. That's gonna be more interesting. Enjoy.